Hello.
Hello.
Somebody wanted to join in and say hello to my YouTube family. So, please say hello to, this is Teagan. Teagan, say hello.
Hello.
So, in today's video, we're gonna talk about transitioning from student nurse to newly qualified. Because we're not students anymore, we get to spend more time with this one. When I started, this one was 6 weeks old, and now she's all grown up, nearly 5. Are you nearly 5? Yeah. So,
And I'm nearly 6.
I don't think so. Are you nearly 6?
Yeah.
Are you nearly 6?
Yeah.
If you've just joined me, please subscribe. Tell people to subscribe. Say subscribe.
Subscribe.
Say subscribe. Say subscribe to my channel.
Subscribe to my channel.
And then,
So
yeah, we're gonna talk about how we get to spend time with Teagan. No, actually, can I talk? Yeah. In today's video, I'm gonna talk about more about how the tips and bobs about how you can appreciate being from student to newly qualified nurses. So I'm gonna give you tips of how you can actually progress and what you can do to make your transition a little bit easier. So let's get into this video. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So Teagan has left us. Now I can think actually what I want to say. So you've had years of studying, you've sacrificed quite a lot, family time. Like I said, when I started my access course, Teagan was literally just been born, and now she's nearly 5, and I hardly can believe it. So you've sacrificed a lot, you've gone through endless placements, you know, assignments which have to be done on time and things like that, and finally the time is here whereby, you know, your hard work is actually paid off. You can actually finally see the end result of, yes, you're nearly qualified, and congratulations, you know. It's such a good feeling, and finally you can actually say yes, you finally made it. And now you ask your questions, why did you want to become a nurse? You know, your patients are going to be real, you know, your colleagues are going to be real, you're going to be part of a team. I know you have been part of a team as a student nurse, but you know, we go through placements, and you go from, you know, from one job to another. So you always never feel like you're always part of a team, because you're always jumping from one placement to another. As soon as you feel like you're at home, you have to end up going to a different placement. So you're always shifting. But finally you're gonna be getting your own team and your own colleagues, and this is gonna be your thing, and you're gonna feel anxious. And please don't fear not. Don't be worried about being anxious. Almost every single new nurse, we all felt this 7 months ago. I was exactly the same, but other things are gonna come, are gonna contribute to this, and I'm gonna go through almost like 10 steps that things are gonna contribute to this anxiety that you're gonna feel. But I'm gonna give you some small pointers that I think helped me transform from being from transitioning from student to newly qualified. And I hope this will help somebody there, even though it's just 1 or 2 people, you know, then my job is done. Okay, so you're gonna worry about theory into practice, you know, like putting your theory and then translating into practice, like the gap in between the two. But don't worry about this. You're gonna come in as a newly qualified, and you cannot know everything. Definitely not. There is no way you're gonna know everything, you know. But you just have to remember, you've survived a lot. You've survived endless placements. You've survived a dissertation. If for example, if your university does a dissertation, you know, you might not do a dissertation, but you've done different literature. I don't know how many words that you had to write or whatever. You've survived this. So going into a placement, you know, that's, oh, I mean, sorry, not placement, but going into a work of place, that's okay. You know, everything will come into place as time goes on. The more patients you exposed to, the more you're gonna remember what to do. You know, it's all part of, you know, every single day life. You know, as they always say, as student nurses, you know, it's almost, they're teaching you to, almost like to be a nurse, what to do, but you actually learn to be a nurse when you actually qualified. You become a real nurse when you actually get your first job, when you actually become a nurse. You know, as student nurse is almost like a foundation, but you actually become a nurse when you actually qualify. You actually learn how to be a nurse. That's what I would say. So you're gonna have your time management. Time management is quite difficult, because one thing I would say is you're gonna learn your time management on your own. Nobody's gonna tell you how to manage your time management skills. You're gonna find your own ways of how to do this. That's what I would say. You know, I did placements on the wards, and every single mentor I had, they all had their own ways of doing their time management. You know, you find your own ways of managing. You might struggle as you first start, but then as time goes on, you're gonna be like, you know what, I did this yesterday, but I found it's causing me a lot more grief, you know, all this and that. So if I do this way, it's giving me more time, and you find ways of managing your time a little bit better. But you'll find your own way of doing your own things and finding your own niche, as they say, you know. The other thing is medicine administration. So medicine, I'm talking in basis of UK here. I don't know how or other trusts do it, but in my trust you have to have competencies. Just because you've been a student nurse and you're actually in placement, we still have to have competencies of doing oral, subcards like IM, all of those other medications, and IVs. So we have to have competencies of everything that we actually do. There is no way you're gonna come as a student nurse and then go straight in and start giving IV antibiotics. You know, as students we weren't even allowed to give IV antibiotics, so this was all a learning curve for us, you know, because it's all different. The way NMC rules and regulations was, I think they've changed it now. That's a whole lot of a different story, which we're not talking about today. But yeah, so medicine management, you'll find ways of, don't worry about medicine management, but if you don't know anything, ask. If you're gonna get anything out of this video, just ask every single person that you want to go to. Just keep asking. Don't go and do something because everybody's so busy or this and that. Just find somebody and ask. If you're not comfortable doing something, don't do it. Okay, just ask a question until you're confident. You know, there is no point putting either patient in danger or anything like that. Just ask the question. There is no harm, and no question is a silly question. Just ask. You know, you're gonna find someone who's gonna explain something better, and if you don't understand, write it down. When you go home or when you have a day off, just read up that particular condition or something like that, and then you can actually, you know, articulate what you're trying to understand, if that makes sense. So you're gonna find ways of you're gonna be caring for patients with different comorbidities. You know, this it will come in due course. You know, as time goes on, you're gonna find that you're gonna have patients who have different ailments, and there is no way that you're gonna, on day one, that you're gonna find like, oh my god, my patient is good, this is good. But with experience, you will learn how to cope with when a patient has got more than one condition and things like that. So you just have to find your own way, and like I said previously, just read up something that you don't actually understand, and then you can actually find ways. It's like education doesn't stop there. If you don't understand something, just keep reading about it, just keep reading and keep being educated all the time. That's one thing I would say. And then we have documentation skills. So documentation, one thing I would say, if it's not written down, you haven't done it. It's as simple as that. You're gonna find ways that it's so difficult to write things in real time, but if you actually write something, if you actually do something and you're so busy or your patient is really, really sick, then when you have time, then if you remember, oh my God, I need to write this, then find 2 minutes or something and document something, because if anything else goes wrong and you haven't documented anything, then you haven't done that particular thing. The other thing I would say is you're gonna worry about working in different teams and this and that. You're gonna worry about joining a new team, and that's normal, because I was worried about joining a different team, because you might be like you're from a different team and you're worried about a new challenge or something like that. But if you don't take those extra risks, because you don't know, the team I'm with is amazing and most times we get on really well. If you need extra questions, you can almost approach anybody and they're always happy to help, which is really amazing. So you're gonna worry about working with different people, but just remember, within teamwork, it's almost like infectious. If everybody's so nice and helping each other, you're gonna feel like they've actually like infected you with like wanting to help anybody. And then you just have to remember, you as a newly qualified nurse, right, when you actually got those skills and everything, when someone else new comes in, what you're gonna do, you're gonna want to help that somebody new so that they actually get those extra skills as well. So it's so much better to actually help someone new than so you have to remember what it's like to be new, and then you help that somebody. The other thing that I'm gonna talk about is decision-making skills. You just have with decisions, you make decisions every single day. You're gonna think, oh my God, I'm newly qualified and this and that, but you make decisions every day. Even just making a decision whether your patient needs a bedpan or a commode, but then you decide, my patient in the morning had maybe a BP of maybe 90 or 80 systolic, and then they're not capable of their BP is actually quite low, and then you decide to put them on a bedpan instead. You've already made a decision for that patient. You're already making decisions for that patient. So decision making, you're making decisions every day for your patient. So just because you don't make the massive decisions, just because you're newly qualified, it doesn't matter. You're already making decisions. Those are the bigger decision making skills will come in as time goes on, as the experience comes in. So don't worry too much about decision making skills and all of this. As time goes on, as you work within 1, 2 months, 3 months, you're gonna find that you're gaining other decision making skills that you don't, because I work in A&E, the decision making skills like I've gained from when I started last year in October till now, it's increased tremendously. You're gonna worry about shift work. Everybody worries about shift work. As student nurses, we did shift work, but based on our mentors were quite lenient. Sometimes you'll be like, oh, I'm sorry, I can't do this shift because I've got a prior engagement, and they were quite understanding. But now you're going to be part of a team and you're going to be part of a roster. And one thing I would say is, when you go for that interview, in most times they will ask you, can you do this shift, can you do this, can you do that? And in most cases they will be able to give you the shifts that you want, or if you tell them that you can do certain shifts, or you can't do certain shifts because of childcare, because maybe your partner also does shift work. In most cases they do understand. I believe they rather keep nurses than not, rather than say, oh, we can't give you this or that, or we can't employ you because you can't do night shifts. I find that quite difficult to understand why they wouldn't employ you because you can't do night shift. So that's one thing I would say. My last point actually I would say is self-care. Look after yourself. You know, I understand you've just come out of university, you probably have a lot of debt, or you just think, oh my god, I need to do overtime, I need to do this, and that's okay to, and that I completely understand, to be fair, you know. But you're gonna come out, you're gonna be reading quite a lot, you're gonna be going through a lot of training and everything, and it's gonna be quite overwhelming with everything because you're newly qualified and you're trying to understand how the system works, the documentation, how everything works. So you're gonna be learning quite a lot at a very fast rate. So what I would say is take time, take 2-3 months to get used to the environment. Then once you're actually comfortable and you've got most of your competencies like medicine management, IVs and everything, and you're confident in your role, then you can think about maybe doing 1 or 2 overtime, you know. So guys, that was actually my points that I would say transitioning from student nurse to newly qualified. So Teagan you wanted to join me, didn't you?
Yeah.
So thank you guys for joining me. If you think I've forgotten something, can I talk? Yeah. If you think I've forgotten something, please leave me a comment down below. I'm thinking of doing a part 2 to this video actually, because I've talked about what you can do, but I know as newly qualified nurses we can actually bring a lot of benefits to the workforce. So I want to do a second video regarding to that, of actually the benefits that we can actually bring to the workforce, and they can actually benefit a lot from us newly qualified nurses. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and put it up here, leave comments down below, let me know if I've forgotten anything. Please like it, give us some love, and then yeah, thank you for joining us. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. Say love you.
Love you.
Mwah. There we go.